Okay, so let's unpack this. I want you to picture the most boring room you can possibly imagine.
Mm,
You know, beige walls, fluorescent lights, humming overhead, maybe a plate of stale muffins sitting in the corner.
I'm there.
You're sitting there, staring at a whiteboard, and someone draws a big cross in the middle. They write 4 letters. SWOT.
The dreaded SWOT analysis.
Mm,
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
exactly. It's the bread and butter of, I don't know, every corporate retreat and marketing meeting since the dawn of time.
Usually the stakes are pretty low.
So low. Maybe you launch the wrong product feature or your Q3 projection is off by a point. Nobody dies.
It's safe, it's analytical, it's completely detached from, physical reality.
But today we are taking that dusty old business school framework and we are dropping it into a blender.
Folks,
We're stripping away the boardroom and the air conditioning and we're applying it to one of the most volatile, physically dangerous environments on the planet.
we're talking about surfing.
We're talking about a solo surf session in Da Nang, Vietnam in conditions that, well, you can only describe them as angry.
This is what hooked me on this deep dive. You have this fascinating collision of worlds.
Right.
On one hand, you have the raw, visceral chaos of the ocean. The big waves, heavy currents, and just total unpredictability.
And on the other,
You have this cold, logical structure, the SWOT analysis trying to make sense of it all.
yeah, it's not about maximizing shareholder value today. It's about survival.
Right. Our mission here isn't to teach you how to surf. It's to look at how structured thinking stands up when the pressure isn't metaphorical.
When it's real.
It's about decision-making, when the market forces are literal walls of water trying to hold you down, and the only competition is your own fear.
So let's get our bearings. We need to set the scene because the visuals here are they're crucial to understanding the stakes.
Absolutely.
We are not talking about a sunny California day with the Beach Boys playing in the background.
Not even close.
I'm looking at these photos from that morning, and moody is an understatement. It's Da Nang, specifically near the Temple Beach Resort.
Hmm.
And the sky is this heavy, oppressive blanket of gray. It looks like the sky is sweating. And the ocean, honestly, it looks messy.
Messy is the surfer's nice way of saying chaotic.
Is it?
Yeah. When you look at those photos, you don't see clean lines. You see layers upon layers
Yeah.
of white water. It's choppy. The wind is tearing the tops off the waves.
And there's this ominous geography to it. You have these lush, dark, green mountains, the headlands, and they're sort of disappearing into the mist in the background.
And then there's the statue.
Yeah, watching over the whole scene from a hill in the distance is this massive white statue.
The Lady Buddha. She's a huge icon in Da Nang.
It adds this weird spiritual weight to the image, doesn't it?
It does.
You have this giant serene statue completely still on the mountain, and then below her, the ocean is just churning violently.
And then there's the ship.
To make it even more surreal, yeah, bobbing way out on the horizon is a large red industrial ship.
That contrast is important. You have the spiritual symbol, the industrial symbol, and then this chaotic nature.
And then the human element.
The surfer.
Just one.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's this one photo that really drives it home for me. It's a zoomed-in shot of a lone figure walking along the wet sand. Pink shorts, carrying a bag, and flip-flops.
He looks lonely.
It does. And that's a key part of this whole deep dive. This wasn't a group outing. This was a solo mission.
Which completely changes the risk profile. In the corporate world, if you make a bad call, usually someone else is there to catch it, or at least help clean up the mess.
Right.
In big wave surfing, if you are alone and you get knocked unconscious or you get held down too long, there is no HR department. There's no safety net.
That's the threat category of the SWOT analysis, changing from, potential loss to potential mortality.
Exactly. And the conditions described that morning were big and powerful. But the real kicker, the thing that makes this specific session a nightmare for strategy, is the phrase, no clear channel.
I wanted to ask you about that. For those of us who haven't spent our lives in wetsuits, what is a channel and why is not having one such a big deal?
Okay, so think of a busy shopping mall with a chaotic crowd of people running down the down escalator.
Right.
That's the impact zone, where the waves are breaking. If you try to run up that escalator, you're going to get smashed.
Makes sense.
A channel is like the empty up escalator next to it. It's a deeper part of the water where the waves don't break. It's a free ride out to the back.
Conveyor belt to safety.
Precisely. But on this day in Da Nang, no escalator.
Just a wall of water.
Just a wall. The photos show white water stretching across the entire horizon. So to get out, You have to run up the down escalator while people, or in this case heavy waves, are cackling you.
That sounds, I mean, just thinking about it is exhausting. So you have the surfer standing on the beach looking at this mess.
Yeah.
The wind is howling, the Lady Buddha is watching, and there's no easy way out. Now, most people would just turn around and go get a coffee.
Oh, I probably would have. Absolutely.
But this surfer doesn't. However, and this is where the strategy kicks in, they don't just charge in screaming Leroy Jenkins.
No. And that's the first lesson in the SWOT analysis before they even wrote it down. It's the data collection phase.
He observes.
The narrative says he stood on the beach and just watched. He took his time.
It's so hard to do that when your adrenaline is spiking. You just feel like you need to act.
Right, speed is often mistaken for effectiveness. But by pausing, he noticed something critical. He saw other surfers way over on the left side of the beach.
And the data point was?
The waves on the left were slightly smaller and more manageable.
Ah, so that's the identification of an opportunity.
Exactly.
If he had just run into the water right in front of him, the center, he would have been hammered. By taking 5 minutes to look for the anomaly, the slightly easier path, he completely changed his odds of success.
That decision to move left was the first strategic pivot. It sounds minor, but it's the difference between expending 100% of your energy just fighting to survive.
And saving maybe 30% of it to actually surf.
Yeah.
So he walks to the left, he stretches, he enters the water, and I love this detail. He enters calmly.
Deliberate energy conservation.
He's not sprinting, he's waiting. But he hits the impact zone, and the description here gets intense.
It does.
He's not just paddling, he's hunting for gaps. He's waiting for the thick, heavy sections to pass.
It's tactical evasion. He mentions paddling over smaller waves without capsizing. In conditions that messy, just keeping your balance while paddling is a workout in itself.
Every time a wall of white water hits you, it just drains your battery.
A little bit more every time.
But he makes it. He punches through the wall. He's out the back, sitting on his board, floating in the lineup. So the hard part is over, right?
You'd think so. But this is where the story gets really psychological.
Okay.
This is where the weaknesses column of the SWOT analysis starts to bleed into reality.
The internal battle.
He's out there, he's safe for the moment, but now he has to actually catch a wave. And nothing happens.
He freezes.
Analysis paralysis. He admits to fear of big waves and hesitation. He describes seeing these mountains of water coming at him, and instead of turning and paddling, he's doing the math.
Is this one too big? Is it closing out? Am I too deep?
And while he's doing the math...
The wave rolls right underneath him.
Exactly. He missed opportunities because he couldn't decide quickly enough. And this is the paradox of the intelligent surfer, or, the intelligent business leader.
How so?
The same analytical brain that helped him find the safe spot on the beach is now the brain that is talking him out of taking the risk he needs to take.
It's the curse of overthinking. You're sitting there waiting for the perfect wave.
But in a messy ocean, the perfect wave doesn't exist. They're all imperfect.
And the longer you wait, the colder you get, the more the fear builds. It's a negative feedback loop,
For sure.
but eventually the loop breaks. He catches one.
Just one.
A single wave. He turns, he commits, he drops in. The text describes it as safe and enjoyable. He rides it all the way in, and that's it. End of the session.
One wave.
Now, if I went to a buffet and ate one shrimp, I'd feel ripped off. If I spent an hour paddling for one ride, I might feel frustrated. But he didn't.
No, he broke this down into a full SWOT analysis to explain why that one wave was a victory.
Let's look at that grid then, because it really explains the why. Let's start with strengths. What did he rely on?
Well, interestingly, the first thing isn't muscles or an expensive board. It's ocean awareness
Which we saw in action on the beach.
and safety-first mindset. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
Usually in extreme sports, safety first sounds like code for chicken. It sounds like the opposite of high performance.
That's a common misconception. In a high-consequence environment, risk aversion is an asset.
Right.
If you are reckless in 4-foot waves, you might scrape your knee. If you are reckless in double overhead waves in Da Nang with no channel, you drown.
So his safety-first strength didn't prevent him from surfing.
No, it kept him in the game long enough to find the right wave.
Caution as a sustainability strategy.
100%. He also lists paddling ability and consistent practice habits, land training, skateboards. This reinforces that performance in the moment is built on the boring stuff you do when nobody's watching.
Right.
But then we flip to the weaknesses. And this is where the surfer gets brutally honest. He lists fear of big waves right at the top.
It's rare to see that admitted so plainly.
And lack of confidence in timing. But the one that really struck me was overthinking. He explicitly writes, "Too much caution sometimes stopped me from taking safe but challenging opportunities."
This is the critical insight of the entire deep dive. There is a razor-thin line between wisdom and fear.
Explain that.
Wisdom is looking at a wave and saying, that will kill me, I shouldn't go. Fear is looking at a wave and saying, that might be hard, so I won't go.
And he was letting the safety-first strength mutate into the overthinking weakness.
Exactly. He was so good at identifying threats that he started seeing threats where there were actually opportunities.
Speaking of opportunities, that's the next quadrant. We mentioned spot selection, moving to the left, but he also lists local knowledge.
Yeah. Asking the locals about the currents and the rocks.
I feel like this is a cheat code that so many people just ignore. We try to figure everything out ourselves. He just asks someone, hey, where are the rocks?
It turns an unknown variable into a known variable. It's the most efficient way to reduce risk.
Well, so.
If you know where the reef is, you don't have to worry about it. You can focus your mental energy on the wave.
And finally, the threats. The external stuff trying to hurt him, obviously, powerful big waves. But the list gets darker. Hidden risks. Rocks, reefs, coral, and then sea animals.
That's the one that always gets me.
It's so vague and yet so terrifying. Are we talking jellyfish? Sharks? A grumpy sea turtle?
In the ocean, it doesn't matter. It's the unknown from below.
And the biggest threat of all, which we touched on, surfing alone.
No immediate help. That amplifies every other threat on the list.
Oh.
If you hit a rock, a threat, while surfing alone, another threat. The outcome is exponentially worse than if you were with a buddy.
So we have this grid. We have a surfer who is physically capable, a strength, but mentally blocking himself, a weakness, in a dangerous environment, a threat, who managed to find a clever entry point, an opportunity.
The synthesis of all this is what matters. The surfer concludes that improvement isn't about just doing more push-ups.
It's about what?
It's about balance.
Balance between what?
He calls it the balance between confidence and caution.
It sounds like a tightrope.
It is. If you lean too far into confidence, you get reckless and the threats take you out. If you lean too far into caution, the weaknesses take over and you sit on your board for an hour catching nothing.
You have to exist in that uncomfortable middle ground. And that explains why he was so happy with just one wave.
Right. Let's go back to that single ride. Why was it a meaningful step forward? Because for those 10 or 20 seconds, he managed to balance the equation. He suppressed the overthinking. He respected the ocean enough to pick a safe wave, but he had enough courage to actually paddle for it.
So it wasn't about the quantity of the surfing, it was about the quality of the decision.
Exactly. He proved to himself that he could override the paralysis software running in his brain. Even if he only did it once, he proved it was possible.
That's a massive psychological win.
Huge.
It reframes what success looks like. I think a lot of us have this scorecard in our heads, right? I need to close 5 deals. I need to write 2,000 words. I need to catch 10 waves.
But sometimes the conditions, the gray sky, the messy waves, the Lady Buddha watching judgmentally, they don't allow for volume.
Sometimes survival plus one moment of clarity is the victory.
Yeah. If he had tried to force 10 waves in those conditions, he might have gotten hurt. He listened to the SWOT analysis. He took what the market gave him.
It's strategic discipline.
It really is.
You know, as we wrap this up, I'm still thinking about that image of the channel that wasn't there.
The broken escalator.
The broken escalator. We all have days like that.
Or entire years like that.
Right. Projects at work where there's no easy path, just a wall of noise. Or personal situations that feel messy and chalky with no clear way through.
And the instinct is usually one of two things. Either blindly charge in and get exhausted.
Or freeze up and do nothing.
This surfer gives us a third option. Stop. Stand on the beach. Look for the left side. Maybe there's a slightly smaller problem over there that you can handle.
And ask a local where the rocks are.
And watch out for the sea animals.
Always watch out for the sea animals. I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
The surfer identified overthinking as his biggest weakness. He was physically ready, he had the skills, but his brain was the bottleneck.
A very common trap for high achievers.
So here is the question for you. Where in your own life are you mistaking caution for wisdom? Where are you technically ready to take the drop? You've done the training, you have the skills, but you're letting overanalysis keep you sitting on the board.
Are you waiting for a perfect wave that isn't coming?
Maybe the messy wave is the one you're supposed to ride. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Stay safe out there.